Namaskar, friends. This is Shekhar Mayanil here, and welcome to the 11th episode of Yogic-Neurosciences in Hanuman Chalisa. So, before I begin, let me seek the blessings of Lord Ganesha and, of course, Hanumanji Maharaj, who is essentially my breath alone. So, let's begin. So, I'm going to share with you my slides here. Today's episode will be a little uh, more into the neuroimmunological aspects. Neuroimmunological aspects means, remember we had discussed in our previous episode how the immune system is also taken care of by our Chalisa breathing. Remember that? So that's exactly what, how that actually happens in our physiology. That is what we'll do. The people who have had exposure to immunology will love this thing. However, those people who have zero experience of immunology will become a card carrying immunologist today. So, so I would say just just hang in there and don't get uh, nervous about some of the terms that I use. I'll explain to you at the very fundamental layman language. Okay, so this is our 11th episode, and it is about the immune surveillance. Surveillance means trying to figure it out inside our body, what all foreign elements are sitting inside, what all enemies are there of our own system. So that's how our breath mediated uh, molecules or cells do the immune surveillance function role, I would say. And second role is immune activation. So the title is Immune Surveillance and Immune Activation Role of Ramdut, which is our breath. So let's before I continue with our discussion, there are some questions which are asked to me by about 11 friends. The first question was by 11 friends. I've just clubbed them together such that uh, it's more from IT background and engineering background friends. Okay, so uh, it's said that I never read Hanuman Chalisa in my life, but only heard it a few times. From the way you explain it using yogic neurosciences, I am inspired to read it and understand it now. Is it necessary for me to know yoga and pranayam and neurosciences before I can understand and appreciate Hanuman Chalisa and Ramcharitmanas, which you use to explain Hanuman Chalisa? So the answer is yes and no. Absolutely, it's not required. But let me tell you one thing. I learned more about neurosciences because I got a formal training in yoga and pranayam. Because and Hanuman Chalisa and other things, because of them I understood neuroscience better. The thing is, uh, our scriptures, especially Ramcharitmanas, Hanuman Chalisa, Bhagavad Gita, and all that, they are direct depiction of eternal laws at all levels of our life. This is the beauty of them, and especially physiology. And as we have heard earlier, that there are 5 different physiological functions that breath controls. So at the fundamental level, they are all about eternal laws. So once you understand the eternal laws, then the allied sciences is very easy. Even pranayam is easy because you've understood the fundamental science behind it. Second thing is it necessary? Not necessary, but it'll help. So I would highly encourage you to go deeper into Hanuman Chalisa and Ramcharitmanas and Bhagavad Gita to understand even the IT field or even the technology field. I am a biggest beneficiary of understanding the neuroscience, the real essence of neuroscience, because I have had this background. So it will help. but it doesn't matter. It's never too late to start, right? Okay. So the second question is, from the way you explain Hanuman Chalisa and SriRamCharitManas, to explain Hanuman Chalisa also, it appears that there is absolutely no clash between Eastern scriptures and neurosciences. Why then are we told that the entire Eastern thought system and scriptures are all bogus and backward? I'm sorry to say that I was one of those who was discouraging a lot of people early on, that it is all bogus and backward. I was one of them. So I feel very guilty about that. So uh, when my Guruji, I was arguing with him about the science behind, the scientist is everything, and science is everything. The objective science that we do is everything. He said, the reason you are saying is you are not yet grounded 100% on your own science. So go and learn that first if you would like to appreciate Eastern science scriptures. And that was a big awakening for me. And I said, okay. So I learned neuroscience the hard way and as much as I can. And then I went back to the scriptures again, even though I had the basic understanding of it, but I was not understanding to the level that the meaning that was supposed to be communicated, or the meaning that the authors of those scriptures intended in their mind to start with. So I had to appreciate my field strongly in order to appreciate Ramcharitmanas and Hanuman Chalisa. So that is one thing which I strongly say, that learn your field to the best of your ability, then come back and understand, and then you'll say, oh my goodness, these people have already figured it out. Why am I wasting my time trying to figure it out? So if there are a lot of cryptic messages in these scriptures, if we go deeper into it, it will make a lot of sense. That's one thing my Guruji told me was, at any point in time, the ones who have gone all the way to objective science, the best of the best, the Nobel laureates, and the ones which have gone all the way to our scriptures like Adi Shankaracharya or Sant Tulsidas or Valmiki or Raman Maharshi and all those people will never be at daggers drawn with any of the scientists of the objective world. So subjective world, which is going inside, and the objective world, which is going outside, they never clash. They never clash against each other because they know the truth is the same. They eventually lead to the same truth. So did I answer your question? So this was from a physician who had a doubt about Eastern scriptures and things like that. Okay, so let's start. In the last episode, we learned that Hanumanji, our breath, can change forms and conducive to the role he is playing. So suppose he has to carry Sri Ram on his back and up to Sugriv, that time he will be assuming the role of a guidance molecule. Now, if he has once he has reached Sugriv and he is trying to make friends with, he wanted to make Sugriv friend of Sri Ram, that time he is a neurotransmitter. So those are the roles he constantly changes. And now we are going to be talking about the role of how our breath, once remember, we in the fourth episode we talked about the Bahaya kumbhak, means exhale and hold. That time a transient hypoxia happens. Okay, so this particular transient hypoxia is outer kumbhak, and it causes what you call hematopoietic stem cell activation in the bone marrow. So what happens when the transient hypoxia happens, the carbon dioxide level is just little bit increased. What happens, that causes hematopoietic stem cells inside the bone marrow to get activated, and once they are activated, the blood along with all the cells, the hematopoietic cells, right? These are which also contain T-lymphocytes and all those other immune cells. They are circulating in the body. Now this T-lymphocyte, once they are synthesized from that, they go around and figure out if there are any pathogens around, and if the cells are behaving properly. So cancer cells, if there are any cancer cells inside the system, so they will go and grab them. Or not only, sorry, not grab them, they will take a picture of them, like almost a three-dimensional mapping of those cells, and they take that memory with them and into the lymph glands. So with lymph glands, these lymphocytes have receptors on them, which call homing receptors, and they recognize adenosines. Adenosines are those receptors, recognition sites on lymphoid organs, which is called lymph nodes. And this process of lymphocyte homing is basically deliberate activity by these lymphocytes, which have the memory of the template of the pathogen. Okay, so this is what happens in our immune system. Now let's find the equivalent in Ramayana. So tum upkar sugriva hi kinha. This is what it is. So what happens is this immune surveillance role basically is the Udan Vayu. Remember the 5 Vayus, the Pran, Apapan, Vyan, Saman, all those. So this is the Udan Vayu aspect of our breath that is we are discussing right now. So what are the markers of this? Markers to distinguish the friendly cell from the non-friendly. See, remember the T cells are roaming around in the blood trying to figure out which cell is friendly and which is not friendly in the process. And once you find that some cells are not friendly, it will take a like a three-dimensional picture of it, sort of, three-dimensional memory of that particular thing, and then it will carry the whole, it will take it immediately to the lymph gland, where there are other similar cells sitting there, quiescent. They are sitting quietly now. They are not activated. But the moment this T lymphocyte goes there and finds out, oh, there are some cells, then the immune response is that it creates a lot of antibodies inside the system. So this is what happens. The adenosines, so T lymphocyte has to recognize the adenosines, right? And what are the adenosines as per in Ramayana? The adenosines are the Ramayudha. Hanumanji goes around Lanka and figure out where is Sitaji, but he could not find. But he saw something very, very peculiar. He saw Ramayudha. Ramayudha means that those weapons that Sri Ram used to carry with him. So Shankh, Chakra, Gada. So you see this is Shankh, Chakra. I don't know whether you can see this. Shankha is there, Chakra is there, and this is Gada, which is a mace, which has a lot of tentacles, a sort of pointed protrusion at the at the bulge area. So this when he saw, he said, "Oh, it's a good thing that I can." This is how he saw the addressing. Of course, in our T lymphocyte system, there are some receptors which is called CD44. CD44 is cluster domain 44. Now, this cluster domain 44 recognizes the hyaluronic acid or similar such some other cell addition molecules on the lymph nodes. So that's how they go inside. But here, what is it that the Hanumanji saw address the Ramayu, the Ankita Griha Shobha Bharanina Jai. Then Nav Tulsika Brindataha Dekhe Harashika Pirai. What happened is he also saw two addresses, two confirming addresses. One was Ramayud, which is all these, and then the Nav Tulsika Brinda, the brand new Tulsi plant was sitting there. So he said, how come? Okay, remember we saw that lymphocyte homing receptors are expressed on lymphocyte cell membrane that recognize adenosine. So this is the adenosine equivalent of immune system in Ramayana. So you see that. So there is a lot of parallels that are happening here in immune system and the breath and the Udan Vayu and all that with the story of the Ramayana. So when he saw those Ramayud and Tulsi is plant, he was wondering, Lanka nisichara nikar nivasa, yaha kaha sajjan kar basa. Lanka nisichara nikar nivasa, yaha kaha sajjan kar basa. Mana mahu tarak करे कपिलागा ते ही समय विभीषण जागा राम राम ते ही सुमिरन कीन्हा हृदय हर्ष कपि सज्जन चीन्हा एहि सन हठी करिय उपहु पहचानी साधु te hoi na karaj hani. He said, Lanka is the den of gangs and of demons. How come such a pious and noble man have his abode here? So he said, while he was reasoning this logic, so how come this person is sitting here with all the Ramayuddha and the Tulsi plant and everything? Maybe some really noble man must be here. So this made Hanumanji very, very happy. And he decided that at no point I am not going to be making friends with that. I must make friends with him. And that is deliberately I will make friends with him. That deliberately making friend is hati kari ho pehchani. Means I will buy hook or by crook, whatever it takes, I will make friends with him. Because why? Because he is a nice, pious, and noble man. And whenever Hanumanji meets somebody and he feels happy, he feels very happy when he goes inside and sees where he goes inside in his consciousness space and he sees whether this person has any match with that consciousness space. So when that match happens, then he feels extremely happy. So this is the beauty of human interaction in its most purest form. All Hanumanji did was whenever he has to make friends or understand the other person at the fundamental level, he'll go inside himself and try to see if there is a match of that person's inside and him. At that level, if there is a resonance going on, then he will be very happy. And then he said, okay, this is a person I can meet now. So that's what he said. Now, the best thing about the lymphocyte homing is deliberate. The process of lymphocyte homing into the uh, lymph node is a very deliberate process. Now you can verify what I am talking in from internet, and most likely Wikipedia has a very good understanding of some very nice details on lymphocyte homing. So if you see that it says that the process of lymphocyte homing is deliberate, mediated by lymphocyte and endothelial recognition mechanism that enable antigen-specific immune response. Now, let me explain to you. Some antigen means some foreign element has entered in our body, or our body cells have become like cancerous. Like when a cell become cancerous in our body, it has a very different surface markers, right? So it appears as if it is foreign to our body. So the lymphocyte will go around and take a like almost a understanding about what kind of a cell is that, and it goes inside the lymph nodes to match whether that kind of a template exists inside there already or not. And if it exists, great, then it produces antibodies. And if it doesn't exist, so it will again trigger another innate antibody immune response. Not innate, conditioned response, which means the antigen will now be processed for antibody production. Okay, so this is the deliberate process, and that's exactly what Hanumanji did when he says, Hat kariyahu paichani, which means deliberate. Okay. Now, no, that's what I would say. Adaptive response. Sorry. Yeah. So adaptive interaction between T cells and dendritic cells. So what happens when the T cell goes inside the lymph node, like lymph node are the tonsils, and there are some lymph node all over our body. So remember that. So that inside those lymph node, there are dendritic cells. Dendritic cells are they have this protrusion, like they are very weird looking cells, right? It has lots of uh, fibers coming out of it, right? So those are the cells which this T cell, which has just now come to the lymph node, they will interact with each other, and that is the crucial initial step for initiating cell mediated adaptive immune response. So if let's say a COVID virus has gone inside our system, so how does body fight the thing? So it will make a template, understanding, okay, this fellow is foreign, so it will go into the lymph node and make sure that that particular thing template exists there or not. If the template does not exist, it will make sure that it will create another template and create antibody response. So that antibody response takes around 21 days in our human body. So that's the reason that 21 days is very, very critical for production of antibody. So after that, if there is a booster shot given, then the antibody response becoming even better, because the template exists now. That's why it is booster is this 21 day is the time when the T cells are trying to figure it out whether this template exists or not. If not, how to create another one and to create antibodies against it. So this is the dendritic cells in the lymph node, right? And this is the T cells. Sorry, I'll just use this. Okay. This is the dendritic cells inside the lymph node, and this is the T cell, right? And this is the dendritic. So dendritic cell and T cell interaction is the first step to initiate cell-mediated adaptive immune response. Now, this is that adaptive immune response means right now something has come and now you have to tackle it. However, if this particular pathogen or bacteria or virus which is just come and we have generated antibodies against it, great. So next time whenever the same thing comes, we have the template, so we'll immediately fight it out. So and you saw the same this mace with all this protrusion. They are almost like telling Hanumanji that look, dendritic cell is right there in front of that. Mean that particular homing, that is the homing of T lymphocyte. So Vibhishan's house was almost I would consider it as if it's a lymph node inside Lanka for Hanumanji to figure out, and the mace with protrusion gave him an idea. Oh, this is the confirmation that this has to be our lymph node, because lymph node has this protrusion, and if this lymph node this dendritic cell and Hanumanji interact, the T cell interact, then there is a possibility of immune response and fighting the enemy. So this is what it is. I just wanted to make that. So what happens? Vipra Rupa Dhari Bachana Suhai Sunata Vibhishana Uthitaha Ai. Now Hanumanji, what happens is he changes his form suddenly and makes himself appear like a Vipra, so that he should not be open to somebody who is yet not 100% convinced about. He is, even though he has the inner thing being happiness, he's feeling happy within, but he has to confirm it also. So then he went there and knocked the door, and Hanuman and Sugriv got up, because Hanumanji, what is the confirmation? He said Ram Nam when he got up. So that was a very good confirmation that, oh, this is a good person. So now he goes inside, and then Vibhishan became very happy. He became very happy. He says, More hriday preeti ati hui. I am feeling so infinite love from within myself. There is some outpouring of love from within that is happening the moment I have seen you. So this is another quality that one must learn as far as people dealing and people interaction are concerned. Is the other person feeling automatically happy or not? So if the thing is, when you are reveling in pure consciousness, Hanumanji was reveling always in pure consciousness. And whosoever you meet will experience tremendous love from within. That is the sign whether you are established in your pure consciousness or not, or established in your own self or not. If the other person, if you're judgmental and you say that, oh, I am established in pure consciousness, and yet you're judgmental, no, you are not, then it's wrong. So when you are reveling in pure consciousness, just like Hanumanji was, then the person whom he met, which is Sugriv, feels tremendous love and joy from within. This is the sign of person reveling. And once that happens, there is a place where a right interaction can happen. Not only that, this whole thing become a mastermind alliance now. This is what Napoleon Hill was talking in Think and Grow Rich. How do you understand this person can be a mastermind? This is the reason. This is the mechanism of how you understand the person out. A mastermind alliance can be between two people also, and it has a power of 11 or maybe 11,000 or 11 million. It's so powerful. But you have to understand where you are you reveling in pure consciousness? And if you are reveling in pure consciousness, and if you meet somebody, you feel happy and he feels happy. That's it. That's how it is. Okay. So this is now what happens when the lymphocyte, T lymphocyte, goes inside the lymph node. There are some quiescent immune cells sitting there. Quiescent immune cells are just like Sugriv. Vibhishan. Vibhishan knew what is wrong Ravan is doing. Vibhishan knew 100% that Ravan is not doing the right thing. But he could not, he did not get muster enough courage to go and tell him. Now what is happening is Hanumanji is telling him the glories of consciousness, glories of Ram, and that satsang is going on right now. And then he probably also taught him Chalisa breathing to eradicate fear once and for all, and maybe Surya Namaskar also. So get rid to get his hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal axis in alignment. So these things he must have definitely told him to get this fear out of his system, because he was almost all the time he knew what is right, and he knew that Ravan is not doing the right thing. By abducting somebody's wife is not a good thing to do. But he did not get enough courage. So now Hanumanji what he is doing is he is activating the quiescent immune cells in the lymph node. So if T lymphocyte is Hanumanji, and the quiescent immune cell is Vibhishan, then this satsang is happening, and that particular interaction in the form of satsang is what is going to make Sugriv active again. And this gave Vibhishan enough courage to speak up against the unrighteous path that Ravan, or the cancer in our body, has adopted by abducting Sitaji. Sitaji is akin to blood supply. I will talk about that a little later. So at the expense of see, when a cancer cell grows, what happens? It creates it has to survive. So it hijacks the capillary system towards itself. I would say tumor angiogenic factors, they call it. It releases tumor angiogenesis. Angiogenesis means to make blood supply in a tissue. That is called angiogenesis, right? So it hijacks the blood supply and makes small capillaries to sustain itself. So that is what is cancer. So when that happens, it is impossible for you to destroy that cancer again. But if we do the right Chalisa breathing and do the right kind of eating and all that, then you can choke that cancer cell by taking the blood supply from it. So this is what it is. So in Atharvaved, that's what I was going to talk to you about was what is Sitaji means in physiology. how do you equate this? See, all these things is equating to our own physiology. Hanumanji is our breath and five different types of functions. And of course, he keeps changing functions as per the requirement. So, but the essential form doesn't change. The essential him never changes, but only the outer forms. So the structural biology, it is a beauty. It's one of the best scriptures you can read is Ramayana to understand structural biology. Structural biologists spend the whole lifetime understanding the form and function studies. If you understand Ramcharitmanas, you will have so much appreciation for the form and function studies. And form can change, but and functions can change, but the essential uh, the code, the essential person or the essential you never changes. So that's what it is. It is. So Sitaji in Ramcharitmanas or in Atharva Ved represents the cardiovascular system or the feminine quality, which is called Lakshmi, which is basically dynamism and supporting function and nourishment. So all the blood, all the motherly qualities, right? All the motherly qualities is cardiovascular system. So Ravan, the cancer in the body, has hijacked Sitaji, which means blood supply, and the cancer wants to grow at the expense of the body, so making the entire body weak, but wanting it to grow. So it abducts and draws blood supply to itself. So that's what has happened. What is the next role of Hanumanji in our breath, or Ramdut, the messenger of consciousness, when he goes to meet Sitaji in Ashok Vatika? What is the role he is playing when he meets Sitaji now? So after Sugriv, after Vibhishan's meeting, Vibhishan tells him Sitaji is at that particular spot. Ravan has put her there. So you go there. So now how Hanumanji, which is the role? Is it the neurotransmitter role, or is it a guidance molecule role, or the immune surveillance role, or the immune activator, or even a hormone role? What is the role? Which role is he playing when he goes and meets Sitaji? And that we'll find out in the next episode, which is number 12. Sukshma Rupa Dhari Yahi Dikhawa. Remember, Sukshma Rupa, any molecule which is directly released into the bloodstream. Remember the previous slides, previous, I think 11, 10th one, I think. The smallest amount of molecule that goes inside the bloodstream, directly into the bloodstream, is Hanumanji. Now, I give you the task to figure out what amongst all the above, is it a neurotransmitter, a guidance molecule, immune surveillance, immune activator, or hormone? Which one is the one which is basically the role that Hanumanji is playing, or our breath is playing actually? So see you next time, and thank you so much. And you know what to do next. Please subscribe. If you like whatever you have heard, please subscribe, share, and like, and press the bell icon so that we can continue doing some great discussion on this. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, and see you next time.